Uh, so we know today's topic is about diversity, inclusivity, and uh, gender equity. To start with, I would like to first understand what do we understand when we talk about diversity and inclusivity. And we are talking about the exhibition industry, the implementation of diversity as well as inclusivity and equality in the Indian exhibition industry per se. So when we talk about this industry, maybe I would like to pose a question to Suparna. And we have heard in the morning that the UN states that if we have more women in the organization is more sustainable or more peaceful, not only organization but anywhere. Now, do you agree with the premise that women make the world more sustainable, more peaceful, more prosperous? And if you do, which I think you do, would you please enlighten us on what kind of grooming you do or what kind of grooming takes place in your organization to make people sensitive or sensitized with this so that you have a amicable or a favorable environment and attitude in your organization, in your company?
Well, as far as the exhibition industry is concerned, the very fact that you have called me into this panel, although I'm in the minority here, is my presence is being felt, and I'm equally appreciated and respected being a woman in leadership, and I'm very grateful for that. So it is a positive step. We are moving forward, and as far as my own organization is concerned, I have noticed, actually, everybody might have noticed by now, as far as IQ is concerned, men and women have always been equal. Okay, a part of general knowledge and other things, social conditioning has always been against us in India. It was the tradition, so it'll take some time to change. But as far as, okay, that was IQ. As far as EQ is concerned, the emotional quotient, we are way ahead. Way ahead. We've got more compassion towards women and men. Everybody, in general, we are much more compassionate. We feel much more for the others. And it has to do with the way we have been always. The more caring we are at home, with the children, with the elders at home, that kind of responsibility teaches a lot right from childhood. And so we can carry that quality forward. And it helps a lot in the holistic development of the organization. And we, as human beings, as mothers, as women in society, we can feel more for the women who are in our organization, which is what I have been doing in my own small way. So whenever there is a girl or a woman in different stages of their life, when they enter our organization, there is something that we don't really take into account that much, that, oh, she's young, tomorrow she'll get married. Then she'll start expecting, oh, there'll be lots of leaves she's going to take. That will affect my work. That will affect my productivity of the organization. That will affect the all-round development, the revenues. No, because the moment you help them, cooperate with them, help them in that child care phase, also tell them that we are with you. You work from home. Do it. Take out the time. It can be day, it can be night. You send out the mails. Get the participation. You see, so these things, they count. And then you know what? This EQ factor, this emotional quotient, it will help you so much when you are dealing with your clients, with your own organization, your subordinates, as well as with your visitors. It will always count. It will help in the holistic development of your organization. And in the end of the day, the moment you start caring for the women staff, you see what kind of quality, what kind of gratitude they give you in the form of their talent, their work, the quality of work. Always you have to see the quality of work. That matters more. The results will come. And the way they will come, you'll be surprised with that kind of result. All you have to do is show that empathy. And I wish today I can influence some men also to do the same. And as far as the industry is concerned, I don't know, I haven't seen that many, although today is it's an exception to the rule, but I haven't seen that many women in our industry. And I wish that more women are included. You're talking about inclusivity. I wish that more women are in this industry. And it is not just in the phase of being a part of the team, also in the visitors, the visiting business people, as well as with the participation. And I'm very glad to say that as far as the team and the participation is concerned, especially the participants, sometimes there are 60 to 65% of the people who are participating in our exhibition are women, which makes me feel very proud. Thank you.
Thank you, Suparna. Taking this forward, my question would be to Satyendra.
If you wouldn't mind, I just need to kind of put some
of course.
comments on what Suparna
Sure,
said.
sure.
First, I disagree that she's on minority here. In fact, to kind of complete a weightage, two gentlemen were invited to balance the scale. So
Absolutely.
So I think I would not agree with Suparna on this. And again, just if you may, as a chair, in terms of what you said, in terms of women, I think I have a unique example and the fact to share. When I joined my company 2014, so it was an all-women team, and I was the first one. So for me, inclusivity and diversity is actually reverse than being over here, and I'm really proud to say that. And even right now, like as we speak, our demographic gender equality is almost balanced, not even at the staff level, but even at the managerial level. So, but I think all thanks to the leadership. I think we all know Sonia is our CMD and she's even the president of IEIA. So what I would want to put forward is you just need to believe yourself. I think that's very important. You need to break that prototype. You have to come out of your shell, demand what your capabilities are, and definitely you will reach there. And I think both the Palapis, whatever they shared before, I don't want to be repetitive, but yes, I think very, very importantly is believe yourself, have patience, you will reach there.
So my question was regarding on the same lines. As you said that you were the only male when you joined the organization, because a recent study shows that companies which are gender diverse, who have more women on the board, they do much better in terms of revenue than the companies which are not that gender diverse. What would be your thoughts on this?
You actually answered the question yourself indirectly. But yes, I think diversity is required, and the research and studies, whichever what has been done, it is very clearly indicated. I would just want to prototype from a business side to make moments a bit more lighter and throw some questions to the audiences out there. All of you are professional and homemakers also, and I think there is no hidden secret that that women handle household matters much better in terms of finances and otherwise, and they carry on the same thing in their professional lives also. Yes, they need support. I think you are lucky, you have support, that's the reason you are here. But still in India, there is still, we need to do far more than desire, and it's happening, it's evolving. And the reason the companies who have women on board are doing much better is for this basic reason. I don't want to dwell into much of details because we can just go on discussing about it, because they can handle things better, they are multitaskers, and moreover I think they're more resilient and having patience, which I think with men that's a bit of a challenge. So when you're at that at that level, you need to see a holistic view where I think a woman kind of does it much better than men, and that's the reason those companies have been quite successful. And we have one example over here, sitting just next to us, and definitely in the audiences also.
Cost saving.
I would say they manage cost well. They manage cost well. I would say that it's not savings, because that fund goes as an emergency fund.
Yogesh, if you would like to add to this, that do you see actually change in happening really in terms of diversity or equality or inclusivity in the exhibition industry, in the event industry? So what is your opinion on the current situation?
So we heard Satyendra saying that he joined the company where he was probably the only male who joined when in 2014. I remember my days when I joined UBM in 2010, probably going back that time, and probably the male to female ratio in the company was about 20-25% to 75% males. But now we look at it, I think there are more females coming to the forefront. I think probably we are nearly 50-50 or 45-55. Of course, leadership roles, definitely there's a gap which we all keep discussing in the company itself and also across the industry. But what better times than when our industry is being headed by Sonia, who's a female, and the way she is forefronting this I think this is probably one of the good times for the industry. And in fact, in the last 2 years, we have seen the way industry has come out of the challenges that we face. I think this is a time when female leadership is evolving, and of course, it's very important time that we give that push to the females. As a company, we have seen more females coming into the organization. I see industry, we are seeing more females. Of course, still those, I would say those structural thought processes remain, that maybe in some of the positions in our industry are probably not made for females, like say in operations or something like that. But I think, as well said, I think why can't we try out? I think that's something which we really need to look at it. But then we see in our industry, particularly if I look at roles per se, marketing is a function which we have so many females who are working in that function, or sales. I think there are so many of them who are doing really well. Production. I think those are some things which I really feel that the output which I see from our female colleagues in the industry or in companies is much better than which I see. And also probably they stay longer in the organization. I think if I see, because they are probably more they get more attached to the organization. They have that kind of. Oh, here in my own company, if I see who are sitting over here, there are quite a few of them who have joined before me in the company, more than 12 years now. So that really shows that they have been a part of the growth story of the organization, of also of the industry, and they have seen the fruits of it. So I think that's something which really comes to my mind. Also, a lot of points which I think my co-panelists, also the keynote speaker did mention, the emotional quotient. I think hands down, female have much higher emotional quotient than males. I think that's how they can handle the things better, and that also has to do with multitasking. I think they're handling so many things at home, while we as males, it's a general perception, we don't do much. As we go back, we just have to focus on our work. But I think that's probably with majority of the male, and that's the reason this emotional quotient, which is very critical as you go in the leadership level, that will count. So I think that's something which I believe most of the females should see as we come in the field. As quoted by the keynote speaker, banking industry has so many leaders, and why can't we have in our industry? We know so many of them who went on to helm their own banking companies. So I think times to come we can see that, definitely.
So the question is a leading question. Now, going forward, do we have any kind of code or best practices in the industry which the organization should follow or should be in place, so that there is more access, equal access to women in terms of resources, in terms of power, in terms of leadership roles, or in terms of opportunities? So should this come from the top management level, or should people in the organization, each and every person in the organization, take initiative and work towards it?
I think it works both ways. Of course, top management has a bigger role, because the way they set the tone, that really matters. And of course, when first of all at the employment level itself, we should be open to having this diversity in employment. And diversity, meaning it's not just women. As a company, we are also looking at diversity across economic stratas of the society. So we have cases where we are hired from a lot of tribal areas in the past also. So some things like that. So we as an organization have been pretty much on those things also. So, but not only recruitment, but after that, looking at their career growth within the organization, what kind of opportunities you provided to the female colleagues in your organization, that's going to be very important. What kind of growth opportunities, what kind of I would say programs they can attend and they could do that. So like in our company we have some things like we have started fast track programs for our colleagues. We have some things like shadow board. We have created it's not just it's across, it's male and female colleagues who are actually the next generation leaders for our company. So we have created that kind of thing. So those opportunities where we could have equal opportunities for both male and female colleagues to be on part of that, so that they can then be groomed for leadership roles. So something, if each organization does that, tries to groom the leaders within. Of course, maybe it's a thing which is coming for the years together. It will not change in a day, but gradually we see 4 or 5 years down the line, we'll see more female leaders coming in the forefront. I'm sure of that.
Also, you spoke about inclusivity. So, do you have any kind of policies or something in place where you absorb people, non-binary persons, or people with physical disabilities? So, just not women, but so that we have the mainstream. I mean, we have these sections also in the mainstream in the exhibition industry.
I haven't seen any particular candidates which have been put forth to me for increment. Definitely, I think something which needs to be done. We as an industry are a long way to go on that. We have seen some of the industry, like hospitality industry, does wonderful job on that. That they employ this kind of, I would say this.
Non-binary
people, or
yes.
There's people who with those backgrounds into their organization, but we haven't done that. I think there's a long way to go. At least let's start making a beginning over this, and I'm sure, I think if there's any opportunities, we will definitely consider those kind of candidates for employment.
Thank you.
I'd like to
Yes,
add
Suparna,
on that.
please.
Well, I haven't had the opportunity either, like as he was saying, but these people are very special and they will be treated specially. If I do get the opportunity in future, then I will see to it that, the necessary facilities are given to help that person to be able to work and, work productively with the cooperation of all of us involved.
I would want to put forward that we have made a conscious effort, and we have special people as part of our team, which we support, and it's a conscious decision what we have taken. And there are various roles which we have identified, where we can take support and help from these people. So as of now, we have, them as part of our data team. But the roles what we have identified is not restricted only to that level. I think they can do much more better, whether it's marketing, sales, operations. Not necessarily everything needs a face in the front. You can do work from back also.
Correct.
And what we have done, we have created a structure which supports such kind of causes and human beings, I would say that. So yes, and it's a continuous effort right now. Definitely the numbers are small, but going ahead we are going to increase and kind of make sure we have more number of such employees as a part of our team.
So there are again two things, we welcome people from these backgrounds and we kind of put them into mainstream. But what is the attitude of people in the organization? Do they really welcome, or do you have any programs in place to sensitize the task force to be kind enough, or to not kind of outcast them? Something on those lines.
Yes, absolutely. I think that is very, very important. They need to be considered as a part of the team. You cannot kind of just treat them an outsider for that matter. So what we have done, I think the basic rule of diversity and inclusivity is you need to respect other people how you want to be respected. I think that's the culture what we have inculcated. When we have our induction program which being conducted, so these are the basic moral value what we try and see in a candidate and try to kind of work on. And very, very importantly, we have those workshops which we do quite frequently, and we keep revisiting our policies. It's not that once it's made, so it's there. So depending upon, because the times are changing, so you cannot have one policy it's simple thing, that one size does not fit all.
Correct.
So you have
Absolutely.
to be flexible from that particular aspect or parameter, I would say that. So yes, and we have the feedback mechanism coming in, and it's an open door policy. Anybody can walk in and discuss things with anybody. So we do not have a very strict protocol. Oh, okay, you cannot go there unless and until you don't talk this. So I think we have a very open culture, and that really helps as an organization for us to grow. And like I would say in last 10 years, like if you have to see, or the success story or the growth story is commendable.
Thank you.
In fact, just to add to what Satyendra mentioned, I think this is probably the best time to have this inclusivity, because people who can't come to work, I think we have seen the benefits of work from home, and I think something the pandemic we always seen was in a bad light, but I think some of the good points of the pandemic which we are is work from home has been a rather accepted model across the world now. So I think we as a company are working on hybrid fully. So I think this is a time you can employ this kind of people who can work and still deliver, I think. So that's something which is a point to be noted, and we could definitely try out this as a company or as an industry also in some of the rules, definitely.
Great. So,
And moreover, like to add on, like, what we, like,
Yeah.
I think our HR head is here, so she would kind of endorse that. So when we kind of recruit people, it's based on merit. So we don't check, okay, we need a male or a female employee, like what Yogi just said in terms of operations. In fact, we have equal representation in terms of operation teams also, as far as, the male-female goes. So we do not kind of do that, this cannot be done by a lady or a female for that matter. I think the only thing is we need to just give them a little boost, motivate them. They can do it. I think they're undermining their own capability. So I think that's one thing we need to sensitize, like, in our organization to the staff, and that's what we do. And we give them the free hand for whatever they want to do. And as I think Pallavi, like Kanchan, when she said, like, unless and until you don't fail, you will not be successful. So we compel them to fail. We fail ourselves. So.
thank you so much. I think I can open this to the floor for discussion, and I'm sure there would be questions, interesting, or pointers or suggestions. And we can take it from the audience.
I think, like, which I was telling you, like, it's definitely an awkward moment in most of the panel discussion when there are hardly any questions
I
coming
think
in.
Nidhi is ready.
No, I will take Nidhi, like, just give me some time. I think I would want to, like, put forward some question to me from the audience, so at least, like, they come back. If you're okay with that.
Yeah,
Nidhi?
yeah, sure.
Or you
Nidhi?
want to ask your question first and then we
No,
go.
it's okay.
Please go ahead.
Please go ahead.
So, like, I think it's an open question for anybody to answer. Like, I think you heard, like, the keynote speaker, the chair of the today's initiative, and, like, the panelist over here. Has anybody has a different view or some experience to share? I think that's very, very important, because all of you have gone through what are actually going through, because it's a ground reality, I would say that. Like, for us, it's easy, like, saying whatever things we are saying, but you are the guys who are, or girls for that matter, who are going through whatever is happening. So we'd like to, like, hear from you, your experiences. And again, I think don't restrict yourself. Nobody is going to judge you over here, and nobody is going to pinpoint fingers. And I'm sure, like, nobody is going to kind of say, oh, why did you ask this question in this forum? That's not fair. So I think be yourself and kind of be open. Share any experience or anything if you disagree on. That's very, very important.
Or any problems in general.
Would like to hear on that.
Yes, anyone?
We don't live in a perfect world.
Hi, good morning everybody. My name is Suparna Chatterjee. I'm from, we have namesakes here I think in the forum today, and I'm from DB Shankar, part of the HR team. I'm heading HR for the West region here. My observation here, in this forum, or what I would like to bring about is, while we are speaking about women, in organization, we are speaking about more women in the organization, more women in the workforce, but somehow we are always, looking at them for the easier roles, for the ones that need more flexibility, for the ones that can be done from the back end. But I think what is more inspiring and what is more, inspires women to join the workforce is seeing ladies in senior positions, leadership roles, driving those results, targets, because that is what will aspire more women to join the workforce, to climb the ladder. And I think empathy or something like, being more understanding, being more kind, these are all human values. It shouldn't be just focused more towards the women, and they shouldn't have the burden of being always the understanding, gender in a forum or in an organization. It should be equally shared with both the genders, being balanced as individuals. And even ladies, in females can be more badass, if that's a word I can, use. They can be more aggressive, they can be more ambitious to drive the kind of results that an organization wants from a resource or from an individual. So that's what my observation would be. So it's more of an, sharing a thought rather than just asking a question. That's all.
Good. Thank you. I think that is what we want to hear.
I think just one point. I think you need not be a badass to drive results. I can.
No,
you can be equally competent with a nice
yes,
EQ. You can
yes,
do that.
but
Yeah. So that's
not
something a wrong
being-
perception that you need to be a badass to drive results.
Agree.
Suparna, I'm making a prophecy. You're going to be a very great leader someday and pretty soon.
Thank you so
Moving
much.
from Suparna to Suparna.
Hi, I'm Himakshi. So this is again not a question, it's more of an experience. And this is when I was carrying. So I was really scared. The moment I realized, I was like, oh God, business, only 4 years of business and things may not work out. And exhibition industry is a tough industry. I've started my career there. I've gone through a lot of stuff, and the panelists sitting here and my colleagues from UBM and of course now Informa know about it. And I freaked. I was freaking and I was crying and I told my mom, oh my God, मेरा तो business ठप हो जाएगा, मुझे कोई काम नहीं देगा. I still remember that day, even though I was very happy about becoming a mother. And my mother said, it's okay, we're there and things will work out. But that year, those 9 months, I have done more work than I've even done in the last 7 years. I mean, the entire industry. And I would actually tell my clients, you know what I am expecting? And they're like, yeah, so? And I'm like, you're still okay? And your project is after June and I deliver in June. Yeah, but you have a team and we know you'll get it done. I mean, I haven't seen that kind of faith in any industry. I never expected, I'm shocked that from the industry where I started my career, I never expected this faith. But it was phenomenal, and I want to tell every woman here that we have some super leaders, we have some great organizations who are very supportive. And I think, of course, the top organizations provide maternity support, maternity leave. Yes, what Suparna ma'am said, if we can support our employees and our female employees with taking care of their child, they can give us so much more. And on a lighter note, I don't know how many of you have seen The Big Bang Theory, when Bernadette has a second child. This is what Amy says. You know what? Mothers have the ability to absorb much more knowledge and manage many more tasks. And that's the moment Bernadette realizes, oh my God, I've been just freaking out for no reason. I am so much better than all the other men around me, and she just excelled after that. So let's not make our pregnancy and our child reason that we cannot excel. I think it's the child that makes us excel and juggle much better. Thank you.
Well, I just remembered one bright example, although not in the exhibition industry. You all know about Farah Khan, the Hindi film director. So she directed Main Hoon Na when she was expecting, and as soon as the film was released, she gave birth to triplets. So anything is possible.
Maybe you would like to.
Yeah, so we all have been discussing this thing, like we see very, very few women on the top, like while we talk about our own industry. So even for today's event, I would say, so many of the organizations still seek, okay, women in leadership, okay, do we send our resources, do we send our employees, so there has to be something very, very serious kind of an effort. And as part of you all are leading your organizations, do you have certain strict policies, especially at the time of recruitments, that like certain number of women or a diverse candidature list of candidates have to be there while you are recruiting for certain positions? So we would like to hear from you, and if not, can we go there, can we reach that point that like, because most of the times what we see, if we are recruiting for a particular level or a particular role, we already have that set perception in the mind that okay, we need somebody male, or for certain roles we need somebody who's a female. So that needs to be really addressed, and that happens even while the appraisals are done, because at times we feel no, okay, you know an appraisal for a woman may be at that level, and like if we have to recruit somebody for, or maybe promote somebody from a managerial role to the director role. So those processes are important, and as part of your organizations, are you doing something on that? We'd like to hear from all of you.
So in terms of recruitment per se, I don't think as a company we have any policies of X number of CVs for females and X for males. I think nothing like. But I think what I said is, from when I compared to 2010 when I joined to now 22, I think the female percentage of the company our company has definitely gone up drastically from say around 20% to about 40,
That's
45%. So I think
encouraging.
it does definitely say it. Of course, the leadership role, as I say, of course, it deserves. But I think how many industries have managed to do that? I think it's something we it has to be a continuous effort. I would say that's why if you build, you can't bring a leader directly on top. Maybe it's a cross hiring if you want to do, but then probably leaders have to be bred from inside the organization. That's my personal philosophy, and we have so many leaders who have come within the organization, and that's something which I'm looking at in the organization, where we can groom the talent, bring the leaders up, and then they claim that position which is apt for them, then they are ready for that position. So something which definitely has to happen, rather than bringing somebody from outside, and then probably it becomes sort of a cultural difference. But of course, if there's a position which is vacant, if there's a candidate, why not? That can also be seen, but we haven't done that. But having said that, my focus has been grooming talent from ground bottom to up, I would say.
I think that's also very helpful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
That is a very good way of getting new leaders. As far as our company is concerned, we don't have much of a choice, because if all the candidates who apply are men, then you can't help it. But then, yes, if we have women candidates as well as men, what we look at is quality. Yeah. So, and if the women fit that role well, why not? We recruit them.
Okay. Thank you.
Moreover, I don't think so. We need reservation for employing women. That's
No,
number
not
one.
talking about reservation.
No, I'm just the reason I'm highlighting this, the financial institution body, SEBI. Now they have put in a mandate where at least there needs to be one woman board member in all the listed companies. So it's like a mandate. That's the reason people have compelled to do that. So I don't think so that's the right way to do it, and we do not need strict policies for that. I echoing with what Yogesh said, I think the talent is there in-house, so we need to nurture that talent. That's number one. We need to support them, and as I said, we need to push them. They need to come out of their comfort zone and show their abilities also at the same time. And we do not have any fixed recruitment policy. Okay, so many percent of roles will be women and men. It's all on merit, and it's work for us right now. And I think people are more than happy. Unlike what Suparna said, for us, it's a different story. We get more resumes from women than from men, and we have been quite open to that. That's the reason, as I said, from where we started in 2014 and where we are, I think we had more men than being women. It's not because of gender neutrality. It's just based on merit. And even right now, we are gender neutral.
Thank you. So the only point is to address the problem of intentional or unintentional bias that exists within our own communities, our own systems. So that's the only point. I would also like to hear from anybody who's from the HR, especially. So anything you people like to suggest on this? Do we have the HR heads here? Anybody? So Suparna, you are there. Anybody else? I also heard from.
Jagrati?
Okay. You like to say something? Any one of you? Maybe a suggestion you like to share.
Hiring more interns, hiring from campus that brings more women in the workforce to start with. That is one decision that we make. Again, quality, supersedes the entire selection process. But just being more open to having more female joining the workforce while while they are really young, because it's an industry which can attract people, and once they know what other industry is all about, how the operations run, it develops more interest and they stay with the organizations longer to build a wholesome career. I think that's one policy that we follow.
Thank you, Suparna. Jagrati, you like to say something?
As far as the gender quality for Nuremberg Messe stays, I think almost everyone knows that we were more in terms of women employees than men. Now that with the new recruitments happening, we've come to a point where we are just 50-50% of women and men. But there's never been such a scene where women being a women employee, you are not encouraged or anything. We have women employees working with our operations team as well, wherein they are on the field, day and night working, shoulder to shoulder with the men employees. So our policies are never differ, or flexibility wise also our policies never differ for any male or female employees as such. So it's for Nuremberg Messe, I like the policy is equal for both the employees.
Thank you.
So before wrapping up, I have a generic question. Like when you have the events on site at the venue, what kind of facilities do you provide to people who are physically challenged? Do you have that kind of infrastructure, that kind of system in place which could help these kind of visitors to come and visit the venue or the exhibition, let's say?
So I think, unfortunately, now we have started getting new modern venues which are well equipped already. And but in terms of progressive thought, which we have as an Informa or UPM, we have started since quite a few years, is all our stand builds which are there have a ramp. So people who come with wheelchair access, so if you enter the registration areas, all those areas, so even the build stands have a ramp, inbuilt ramp in that. So I think something which is unique, which we started quite a long time ago. It's been appreciated by the industry, and though Informa globally doesn't do it, but Informa India we have implemented that across all our shows. Something for physically disabled to come in and access the shows.
Thank you, Krish. Yes, Suparna,
Well,
you want to add
as
something?
far as the open ground venues where we organize our exhibitions, like the one in Calcutta and Bhubaneswar, Ranchi. So here the exhibition is in a vast place. So anybody who has got physical disability, especially for walking that long distance, the wheelchairs are provided. Then our people are there to assist if anyone needs help as such. So it's quite basic actually. These things have to be looked into.
No, I think we all do for that matter. I think all the organizers have become quite conscious, and they have kind of started doing these things, which was not the case earlier. But there are some infrastructural challenges in some of the venues. Even if you want to, you can't do anything. So we do whatever best is possible. But just digressing a little bit from so-called handicapable people, I think one of the classic examples, what we came across in one of the shows, we had a lady coming in with a infant, and I would say it would be around 8-month baby. She was an entrepreneur and she wanted to go and visit the exhibition. Now, as per our trade exhibitions rules and regulations, we do not allow kids. And definitely when they came, so we made sure she went inside. We gave her one of our team members accompany her. So even if exhibitor, if anybody else objects, to explain them what was the reason for us to let that in, because I think it's a very general phenomenon back in India and internationally for trade exhibitions, children are not allowed. But again, I think we felt she's an entrepreneur, she needs to network, she needs to meet with people. So these are the small things I think we need to be mindful of, rather than just rejecting just for the case of being a policy. Okay, sorry, our policy says it cannot be done. I think you just need to start thinking about this small instances and situations and act accordingly.
Thank you very much. So I think we can wrap up this session, and what comes forward from this discussion is that the industry is definitely changing. There is more acceptance, there is more access, and better days are ahead. That's what I understand, and we all understand from the discussion. You want to? Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. May I please request everyone to be present on the stage for a photo op, including Shomi, of course. Thank you, Shomi, for leading the panel discussion, and to all our panelists for the insightful inputs. May I please request Pallavi and Nidhi to come on stage to felicitate the panelists as well as Shomi, our moderator.